Alright, there you go. So right now he's using a steel quickie saw to cut out that big buckle. I'm going to walk in. I don't have PPE on, so I can't get that close to it. But if you can look, you can see where the asphalt and concrete has buckled up. So they have to square that up. That is concrete, but they're going to replace it with about 2 to 3 inches of asphalt. Heights Lane is a 4-lane road, 2 on each side. Speed limit's 35 miles an hour. They have their signage about 300 feet apart for the speed limit, like we talked about last week when we were doing the boom mowing. They have all their cones blocking a lane. They have a trail vehicle back there with an arrow board pointing the traffic to get into the other lane. They have 2 buffer trucks, so they don't have to worry about a car running through their work zone and hitting them on the blind side, their blind side. No flaggers are needed for this job because they are using an arrow board, which is good. So this quickie saw has a concrete blade on it. That concrete blade runs about $100 a piece. Very expensive. It requires water. That blade gets really, really hot, and it also helps keep the dust down. Notice that everybody is in full PPE that's here. They got their steel-toed boots on, their Class 3 vest. You can wear a Class 2 vest. Daylight hours, Class 3 is for your nighttime hours. They got their iPro on, and they have their hard hats on, and they are wearing gloves for the person that's operating the quickie saw. The waterman, he doesn't have his gloves on. So once they get this saw cut to where they want it, they're going to use a 550-pound hoe ram. The hoe ram is what's going to break up that concrete for them to get it out of the way. There's the Bobcat skid steer. It's a T770. It's right around 95 horsepower diesel. They only make one bigger than that one as far as the Bobcat series goes. That one's about 3 years old. On the front of that is the hoe ram, 550-pound hoe ram. Works off the high flow system. They'll get that cut out, and then they'll come in with the hoe ram and chip away at the concrete to open that hole out. As you can see, they have 2 tandems, one single axle dump truck pulling the arrow board. They have a tandem axle dump truck pulling the trailer and the skid steer with the hoe ram and bucket. They have their crew leader truck hauling the roller. That's for the asphalt. Once they put the asphalt down, they have to roll it. And then they have a mini dump with the water trailer on it. So they got quite a bit of equipment out here for this project. So like we talked about before, you know, Public Works, they do road maintenance. This is a hazard that somebody's called in. They call 311. The supervisor has to come out, inspect the job site. Obviously this is a priority because it is such a road hazard to where it can cause motorcycles to wreck. So they get on these type of projects pretty quick. So, you know, as you're watching this video, you can notice how fast that traffic's driving by them. So even though they have a good work zone, enclosed work zone with a lane blocked off, you still have to be aware of what's going on around you as far as traffic goes. It only takes one person talking on their cell phone or texting while they're driving, and then boom, you know, an accident can happen. It looks like right now they're out here with a 4-man crew. You have one crew leader, one senior equipment operator, Mr. Henry, and then you got 2 EOs, and then the guy over here in the orange, that is the supervisor, Chris Short. Just to give you an idea, that quickie saw, that's about an $800 saw with a $100 blade on it. As you can see, you know, it's a slow process. They have to get down to a certain depth when they're saw cutting. Now, when I saw cut, I do it a little bit different. I like to work backwards. I like to run my line with my blade that creates the groove for me, and then I would start and I would work backwards where he's working forward. So once I get my depth, I just start slowly pulling back on the saw, letting the saw do the work. So what he's doing, he's notching each cut instead of going down to depth and then working backwards while you're already at depth. But every operator has their own method. So I got a question for you. Because they're breaking earth, they're saw cutting into the ground, and they're about to hammer drill. So before they went out here and they did this work, what was the first thing they had to do before they could start this project? They had to call somebody. All right, they had to call 811 and get this bud checked. All right, now I'm gonna walk through here and I'm gonna show you all the different bud markings. All right, right there. You look right there. All right, your blue is for your water. Your green is for your MSD. And then you got your LG&E, which is yellow. The orange is for your conduit that is underground. So they have all these bud markings to let them know. And if you look right there where they are, right there in front of where they are is an MSD drain. So once the supervisor comes out here and he has to inspect that, he has to contact MSD, because notice it's there's a drain right there in front of where the road is buckled. So then they have to talk between the two entities, MSD and Public Works, and decide who's needs to make the repair there. So MSD would come out and they would run a it's like a little robot that would go in there and they would check the pipe. If the pipe's not broken or anything like that, then Metro's just going to cut it out and cap it, which is what they're doing now. Now, if their pipe that's running directly underneath that road right there, if it had a hole in it or had burst or had broken or crumbled or rusted out, then MSD would take this project over. They would come up and have to replace that part of the pipe, if not the whole pipe. And as we're watching the video today, I really wish we could be live, but I had to get out there early. But as we're watching the video, I'll be pausing it and asking questions like normal. All right, looks like he's done saw cutting. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop this part of the video and wait for us to start hoe ramming, and then we'll get it back up and running.